Yes. So we'll have a quick recap on what we discussed the previous classes. So we started with the posterior probabilities. Yes, Bayes theorem, posterior probabilities. Posterior probability identification is basically dependent on the likelihood, the prior knowledge, and the evidence, right? Okay, so then after that, what do we call that as maximum likelihood? What is maximum likelihood here? Anyone in the class? Can you let me know what is maximum likelihood mean? I don't want the definition. I wanted to know how your understanding is about the concept. Okay. So let me know what is maximum likelihood. Nathan,
Yes, ma'am.
what does maximum likelihood mean? Again, I'm telling, I do want the definitions. I
It's
just want
estim
your understanding. That's it.
just to estimate the probability,
Estimate the probability of what? You can give an
the
example.
parameter of the parameters. Like, not sure how to explain the examples, but I can get the concept. Like, you can get the parameters of a probability in a particular parameter.
Yes, someone in the class?
Ma'am, it can also be said like the chances of we getting the right one like that, ma'am.
Chances of we getting the right one with respect to? Is there something with respect to?
With respect to the mixture of answers, what are we having? Like example, we getting the attendance if we come in the time, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
The
In the time.
probability, like if the class starts at 12:10,
Hmm.
if we come within the time of 12:12 or 12:15, the probability that we are having is we will get the attendance. If
Okay,
we log
yeah.
in at 12:20, there's no probability of we getting the attendance, ma'am, because the attendance will already be done, ma'am.
Okay.
Example, ma'am.
Yes, yes. It's quite related, but maximum likelihood is basically something like which I was discussing about uh, a pouch with some marbles, right? It's like when I tell I'm not selecting only one particular marble, it is the marble that is related with the other, the characteristic feature of that marble with the other marbles. Example, a pouch which has 5 marbles, 3 red and 2 black. Okay, I'm picking one black marble. So when I'm picking one black marble, the probability of picking one black marble, if I tell for individual, okay, that is different. It comes as 1 by 5. But when I'm telling I'm picking one marble out of it, yes, if it is not specific with respect to the color or something, okay, when I specifically tell it is with respect to a color, then it means that I am gonna pick that black marble out of the pouch. So it's gonna be, since I have 2 black marbles in the pouch, it's gonna be 2 by 5. So it means that it is collecting the information of its likelihood, in the sense, the similar ones, similar characteristics of that. As I was telling you about the chocolates as well. If I tell, okay, I'm considering, okay, I'm going to pick one eclairs chocolate from the pouch where I have 25 chocolates in it, and 5 chocolates are eclairs of different varieties. I might get a milk chocolate, I might get a dark chocolate in it, or I might have a caramel flavored chocolate in it. But it's the brand of it is eclairs. So which means that when I'm picking the eclairs chocolate, I just don't write it as 1 by 25. I'm going to write it as 5 by 25. So that forms my likelihood. Okay. So, and the prior information is my system should get to know that within the chocolates that is given to me, how many are eclairs. As I'm telling, 5 chocolates are eclairs. So I need to know the count of it. So when I get all those prior details only, I can tell my likelihood probability is 5 by 25. If I don't know that there are 25, I'll tell a pouch has these chocolates. How do you get to know how many chocolates it has? What varieties of chocolate it is having? We do not know anything. Just if you tell, okay, the pouch has chocolates, you do not have any prior data of it, right? And when I tell the chocolates also, okay, when I tell pick up that chocolate, okay, what chocolate it is? Is it a milk chocolate? Okay, what is the flavor of the chocolate? What is the size of the chocolate? What are the contents of the chocolate? All of these features will become one instance of that chocolate. because we are all working on with instances, right? So we have the X value and the target value. We have the X1, X2, X3, so on, and target values, so on, from 1 to M or 1 to 25 target values. And again, 1 to 25 is my chocolate values. So every features of that particular chocolate will form one instance for me, right? So we have seen that. We also, what were the other topics that we also covered? We started with finding out the maximum likelihood hypothesis. From the 5 Lindt chocolates or from the 5 eclairs chocolate, the one particular chocolate that best fits my solution will become my maximum likelihood hypothesis. One chocolate from out of the 5 chocolates that I'm going to pick up will become my maximum likelihood hypothesis. We already saw that as well. And then after that, we also saw how do we predict the least mean square error. The maximum likelihood hypothesis that we are going to select will become my least mean square error. We also saw that, right? Do you remember that? An equation created like this, I can have it like this, I can have it like this, I can have it like this. Yes, remember that part?
Line equation?
Yes, let me just show you that.
Y equals mx plus c.
Y is equal to mx plus c, the likelihood option, we discussed that. I'll just show you.
Linear regression.
Linear regression. Along with that, the least square error. If you remember this part, you remember this, you remember the bell curve that we discussed? The mean value. Remember the bell curve? Remember this? Someone has to tell either yes or no. We've discussed this topic, least square error hypothesis.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, probably if you check out this, do you remember this at least? We had a bell curve. From the bell curve, we have the mean value, the center value becomes the mean, and the differences between the point to the center of the mean will become my standard deviation. Rahul, you were there for the class that day?
Which day, ma'am? I wasn't there for the previous class because I had a company meeting.
Because there were few.
Yes.
Can someone let me know that we have discussed this? Do you want me to just refresh on this and then go ahead?
Ma'am, I guess I wasn't there for this class, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I'll give you a description, a brief discussions on this, and then we'll go ahead. So maybe I think I'll take another 10-15 minutes of your additional class today, because I know 1:10 it gets over, because I'm just going to give you a description about this and go ahead. I'll just take some more time of yours. Please do not mind for that. Okay. So here,
Okay,
we'll just go ahead with this. Now I told the maximum one that I'm going to pick up, one eclairs chocolate of this that I'm going to pick up is going to be my least mean square error for mandatory. Okay, we have to prove that. We have to prove that the maximum likelihood hypothesis that I'm going to take is going to be the minimum value of the least square error. Okay, that is the mean square error. Okay, R2. Remember the linear regression line. Same concepts is applied over here, where I take up, okay, I have certain data points. I'm writing all of my data points over here. And with those data points, I have come up with a function that is a linear regression line. That's my target function. Y is equal to mx plus c, the linear regression that we performed, right? So that was become y is equal to mx plus c is my target function over here. Okay. So for this, I've already got my target function and I'm checking out the error of it. I saw that the error of it is so much. I'm describing my error of it is so much. Okay. And then what we are telling here is there's something which we call it as normal probability distribution. See, we have already learned all these concepts, but we are just additionally defining that what is normal probable distribution. Okay, so normal probable distribution is nothing but when I consider the xi values of it, all the instances. Now we have a linear regression line. I have, according to a x value, I have given my y value, I point a line here. I mean, what do you call? I display that particular point with respect to a graph. Okay. And I have another x value of it and its corresponding y value. I'm plotting a graph. We did that in linear regression equation. We have plotted all these lines. Yes. So now when I've plotted all of these lines, okay, sorry, these points, when I plotted all of these points in the graph, It means that the value is normally distributed. Plotting itself is basically a distribution that we are doing, and we are checking out whether those distributions, the probability of those distributions is in the right way. A normal probability distribution. It's telling the definition term is xi, the instances that I have, one for each chocolate, okay, the instances that I have, and its target value is telling tasty, not tasty, tasty, not tasty. I have the target values, okay. I'm going to write that as this target value di, okay, is dependent on the function of xi plus ei. This value di, the tasty value obviously is going to be dependent on the contents of the instances, a caramel flavor or a coffee flavor or any, whatever the instances, it's going to dependent on that, right? This we call it to be as normal probability distribution. Okay, I'm just trying to give you an example for that. Okay, we have plotted those in the graph, and I want to make sure that it is a function of, because the di, the x value, the y value over here, y is equal to mx plus c, which means that the y value is dependent on the x value, okay, which is plotted in the graph format. Okay, that we call it as, we've already seen that, but we are giving an additional term telling it is normal probability distribution. Okay, so from there on, what we did here is we have a dashed line that we have come up. So I'm going to come up with a new line. Okay, this dashed line is a linear function that minimizes the sum of squared function. I'm going to come up. Okay, first I had f, which I've already come up with. Now I'm telling still there is so much error observed. I want to come up with a new solution to see that the error is still more less, a least mean square error. So now let's go ahead with the derivation of this. The derivation here, it is very simple. You have two important concepts in this coming out. One we call it as probability densities. Okay, even this we know what it is. Probability densities, normal probability distribution. Okay, probability densities is nothing but I have these Lindt chocolates in mind. Okay, when I told, or let me consider the pouch of with marbles. Okay, 3 red marbles and 2 black marbles. Okay, now what will be the probability of mine selecting the black marble? I'm specifying the color, selecting the black marble. 2 by 5 or 1 by 5? I have a pouch, and the pouch has 5 marbles, out of which 3 are black marbles, 3 are red marbles, 2 are black marbles. I'm going to pick up 1 black marble out of it. Black indicates the color of it. So is it going to be 1 by 5 or 2 by 5?
1 by 5, ma'am.
How is it 1 by 5?
Because we are going to pick 1 black ball, that is 1, ma'am. And then 5, totally 5 balls are there, 3 plus 2. We don't know either we are going to pick red or black, ma'am. So total number of balls we need to take it into account, ma'am.
But it's the contradictory part. The thing is, I'm selecting my black marble out of it, which means that black is a color where it is telling certain specifications. It's going to be 2 by 5 because I have 2 marbles out of it. So the probability of me getting the black marble is, probability is nothing but the chances. First time when I pick, I might get a black marble. Again, second time when I pick, again, I might get a black marble because there are 2 marbles in that. The probability of me getting it is going to be 2 by 5 rather than 1 by 5. If I tell any marble out of it, I have no colors at all. I have 5 marbles, pick up 1 marble out of it, then it is going to be just 1 by 5. I do not have any color specifications, nothing given. But when there is color specifications given, we have to consider its corresponding values also. So then it's going to be 2 by 5. Okay, so which means that, okay, why I'm particularly telling is the value of that x, the probability of the value of the x, okay, it depends within a range. So it is going to be 2 over here, so 2 by 5. That range, it starts from one particular point to another point. Okay, let me give a best example. The pass percentage of the class is 99%. How will you calculate the fail percentage of the class?
100 minus 99, ma'am.
Yes, 100 minus 99 is 1%. So 1% is my fail. Okay. But what is the percentage range here? percentage range. 0 to 100, I can get any range of it. So for the value that I'm picking, it has a certain range, right? 0 to the value of it. So that is 0 to 100. Within this only, I have to get my pass percentage or fail percentage. Beyond that, can I get? Beyond this, can I get? Beyond 100, can you get your marks? When your marks is fixed to 100 and the initial value is 0, it is already fixed. Will you get a range beyond this?
No, ma'am.
That's what. So each and every probabilities, when we consider working on it, will have its initial value and its final value. A range is fixed. The densities, the probability densities of it is fixed. How are we going to fix? We are writing it stating that P of x0 is limit of epsilon tending towards 0, 1 by epsilon, okay, is going to be, you can observe this equation, keenly observe this equation. The value of x, let me annotate for you. The value of x, okay, value of x is gonna lie between 0, x0 to x0 plus epsilon, which means epsilon is tending towards 0, okay, it is starting from 0 to its limit, which tells 100. It has a limit telling, okay, there is a limit for that. So from 0 to 100, you go ahead, and the value of x is going to start from x0, which is 0, to x plus epsilon. The final value that I'm getting is 100. So I will get all these values within this particular range. Okay, that is about the probability densities. This normal probability distribution, there is an equation. There's a very see the distributions of samples, right? That whatever I was talking about, wherever it is scattered, they have a particular mean and standard deviation value. In the linear regression line also, we calculated the mean of x, mean of y. Remember that? Mean of x, mean of y. And then we substituted that within the linear regression line. And then we got the MNC value, that is the slope and the intercept. Then again, we calculated substituting the value of x to get the y predicted value. Yes, we performed those steps. But what does this mean indicate? Mean, suppose when I consider this probability distribution, the basic is normally a smooth bell curve. Okay, when it is a line, yes, it's a linear regression line where we get the medium value like this. X mean, Y mean. So we had a Y mean value like this, and then we calculated the distances from there. But when I consider a bell curve will look like this. Okay, this is my bell curve. So within the bell curve, the center of the line is going to be my mean, and any value over here, it can be outer also, any value over here from this line, okay, from this particular line to that point, this becomes my standard deviation. And there's a very a very generic equation that is very popular all time. It is this equation. I'm writing it over here for you to just check out. This is the equation. It's an arc max of h bar. I mean, the small hypothesis belong to h, where it is telling it is a summation of I is equal to 1 to m, 1 divided by square root of 2 pi sigma square into e to the power of minus 1 divided by 2 sigma square into di minus mu the whole square. Mu is nothing but the mean. This is a standard equation which you observe for normal probability distributions anywhere with respect to mean and standard deviation. You would have surely read this in your data science classes. If you have opted data science classes, this is a mandatory one, which is 1 divided by square root of 2 pi sigma square. Sigma square is a standard deviation into e to the power of 1 divided by 2 into sigma square di minus of mu the whole square. Mu I'm replacing here with xi, h of xi. My target system that is there, the output of it is going to be my h of xi. Di is my actual value. This is what we do it in the least mean square also. The target value, whatever I get, that is the predicted value minus of the target value is what I will be getting my least mean square error, right? The error, the difference in the error. When I tell 50 lakhs, the car of it, actual value of it is 50 lakhs, but my system has predicted it to be 30 lakhs. The difference is almost 20 lakhs. Then I have to keep adjusting my weights. That difference, we have to reduce it. So for that, what I'm doing here is I'm applying that Mean is going to be my h of xi, and my di is basically my target value. When I substitute all those values over here and take the logarithm of it, when I apply logarithm, I have already explained you in the lab. When I apply logarithm, e to the power of something, I get it below, and the differentiation of that particular term. Okay, so what I'm doing here, when I apply logarithm of this becomes ln of the same. Okay, but e to the power of something, I will get that towards here down. So it's going to be 1 by 2 into the upper term, which I get it over here. Okay, so I do not have any e here because I've applied logarithm to it. The e goes away by doing this operation. So this is constant. I do not need this, so I'll be considering only this part. Okay, and in that again 1 by 2 square root, that is sigma square, again this is constant. So my final output, you can see here, this is going to be my final, this is also constant, right? So I'm removing that, so I'm going to get final output as this. You can just relate to the topic that we are discussing. Maximum likelihood hypothesis and least mean square error. What is maximum likelihood hypothesis? The one single hypothesis that I take up that best fits my solution is my maximum likelihood hypothesis. What is least mean square error? The target value, that is the DI value that I had, 50 lakhs of the car that was being given for my particular instances. This minus of my predicted value from my output, minus of it is what? My least mean square error. And my final derivation of this also will be ending up telling h of ml, the maximum likelihood hypothesis, is minimum of. And one more point to be noted over here, you can see there's a minus sign over here. Okay, and I'm taking an argmax value of this. Okay, it means that maximizing the negative value is equivalent to minimizing the positive value. Example, I just gave it in the last class, if you remember, reducing the temperature of an AC. When you tell reduce the temperature of the AC, what does it mean? Because it's in minus signs, should I go from minus 24 to minus 22? Or reduce, I'm feeling cold, reduce the temperature? Or how do I express that? Minus terms are quite difficult normally to get expressed. So rather than maximizing the negative term, minimize the positive term. Tell them, man, if it is in the positive, it is 25, I'm feeling cold, get it to 22. Or telling, okay, the opposite way, if I tell it's 25, okay, I want it to be get reduced, so I can directly tell 22, which means I wanted it, I'm feeling hot, you can get it to cold. But minus signs, you always get confused. You will tell, okay, it is 22, increase the temperature. When I tell increase the temperature, for me it is increase it. Okay, but the person will think that, oh, okay, he's telling to increase the temperature. So for minus, when I tell him minus, it's in 22, increase the temperature. I want it still more cold, but he'll increase it to minus 24. But actually it should go down, minus 18. Okay, so there's a different terminologies where we have to understand, right? You would have also experienced that. Reducing temperatures of the AC. Normally we would have, but I don't know. It's just an example that I gave you guys. So here, maximizing the negative term, instead of that, minimize the positive term. Okay, so I'm writing here it as argmin. So ML, maximum likelihood hypothesis, that I'm considering, the one that I'm considering that best fits the solution is going to be the argument minimum. Take the minimum value of the least mean square, that is the mean square error. Mean square error is here. Take the minimum value of the mean square error, that I'll be getting my best fit solution. Obviously the least mean square error is my maximum likelihood hypothesis. We are just trying to derive that equation. You have any doubts here? You're getting the correlation that we were trying to come up with? Yes, no? There should be some answer.
Yes, ma'am.
You've understood, sir? Can I move ahead? I'm just giving you the glimpse of it. You again can go through it completely and let me know. Because we have already done this entire concept in 1 full hour. Okay, now I've given the main topics of it that is required for you to understand. Okay, we'll go to the next topic of this. We have already discussed this as well. Maximum likelihood hypothesis for predicting probabilities. Okay, predicting probabilities. How do I tell? Okay, I get a value of this telling it is 30 lakhs. Okay, and I have the value of the DI, which is 50 lakhs. I know directly I will take the difference of it and I will finish it. Okay, but if my target system does not give me the value of it, it gets the probability value of it. How will I predict then? There should be a mechanism, right, for me. Example, okay, as I told, the car value of it is 50 lakhs. Okay, BMW, no, I'll take, okay, Mini, the Countryman Mini of BMW. It's the brand BMW and the model of it is Mini, okay. And I have something telling that, okay, it has all of these features. And the value of the car is 50 lakhs. But my training system, it was just concentrating on only few parameters of the cars, telling, okay, top roof open or something like that. And it predicted and told me only 30 lakhs. I can take the difference of it. That becomes my least mean square error. Okay. And it is 20 lakhs. Now I'll again ask my system to adjust its weights and I'll again get new values. That is, if I get a value of it, that's fine. But most of the time I get probabilities, right? How would I take the probabilities value and compare it with the actual value? My actual value will tell either 1 or 0. But my output value that I'm going to get is going to be probability, something like 0.5, 0.6. The person having lung cancer is having around, okay, the possibilities of he's having around is 0.7%. How will I tell? I have percentage values here. That is probability values here. For that is what we are coming up with this solution, where how are we going to predict those values? Okay. So we have a function X. It's in concept. So it's going to be either 0 or 1, the target values. That is the X instances and its corresponding DI values is given to us. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is I will start directly with the derivation of this. Okay. So here it is telling I have to consider the value of the patient, okay, with respect to DI, what single hypothesis that I'm going to consider. So this is going to be my input. That is my likelihood data. You can see P of D bar H is my likelihood data. From this likelihood data, I'm going to take up this summation of this. What it is telling, see, I have this likelihood data. I'm just trying to annotate for your understanding. This likelihood data, okay, might have any instances x1, x4, x10. Okay, so these instances I will just write it as xi because this is my likelihood. All of these are with respect to eclairs, chocolate that I was talking about, the pouch. Now these chocolates will have xi, which means xi 1, 6 and 10, or 1, 4 and 10. Its corresponding DI values, I'm coming up with the hypothesis, the best fits the solution. Okay, I'm returning, this is my equation of the likelihood. And what I'm telling over here is that I am going to apply a product rule on this term. Okay, there's something which is called as product rule probability. That is the basic probability rules. You have the basic. So there are certain rules in this. One of the rules is a product rule, which I'm applying, telling when I have A or B, the distinct value, I'm going to write it as A bar B into P of B. Okay, which means that I'm going to identify the probability of A when B has already taken and the probability of B, or I can write it probability of B when A has already taken or A has already performed its task, and probability of B. This we have discussed in the earlier probability discussion. Okay, so just an overcap on that. Now this one I'm going to apply it onto this. So this will be my A and this will be my B. Okay, so it's B bar A into probability of A. Okay, so what it is telling here is the probability of this, okay, here, which is nothing but the DI. What is DI over here? The target value with respect to the XI value. Okay, with respect to the XI value. So I'm going to consider something which is called as, okay, before that, I'll just show you this particular thing for you to understand more. Okay, okay, I've written down something over here. This example will clearly tell you why that difference is. See, I have a nameplate, okay, which is called as, this is the name board, which is called as, I'm giving an image to a system. Okay, there's something written on it. It's Mumbai. Okay, you can take some other examples as well. Now this Mumbai, for me, it doesn't seem to look properly because the way it is written is something not proper, not neatly written. But my system now should come up and tell whether this image is of a text, it has a text image or it does not have a text. Okay, this y value is my dy. It's telling, see, this image is a text and it is not text. Is a text, I'm writing it as 1, not text, I'm writing it as 0. Okay, so how did I get this not text? It's going to be 1 minus of 1, which is 0. 1 minus of 1 for this is going to be 0. Not text. But the actual value it is telling, it is text and I'm writing it as 1. Okay. Now my system has learnt this. There was a new image that came up. My system has learnt it. And now I want a prediction output of it. The predicted output is a probability of it. So I'm writing this probability as h of xi. H of xi value it is telling 0.7%. The probability of the given image being with respect to text is 0.7%. Okay, the probability, it's given 0.7%. What is the probability of the text which is not being text? What probability will it have? Anyone? Again, I'm repeating, the probability of my predicted system, the value of it corresponding to the given image being text is 0.7%. What is the probability of the same given image with respect to not text? What will be the probability? Is it so difficult? Probability of pass percentage. How much is probability of pass percentage? 99%. What is the probability of fail percentage?
1%, ma'am.
How did you get that?
Ma'am, 100 minus 99.
Right? My probability of my the image being text is 0.7. What is the probability of my image being not text? How much is it going to be?
Ma'am, 1 minus 0.7, ma'am.
Exactly. So it's going to be 1 minus 0.7, which is 0.3. Being, not being. Every case, every instance that you give for probability, you'll have two values. Yes, this is the probability of being, probability of not being. Any case, we have already seen in our lab example also. When we did logistic regression, we again use the same thing within the equations. So it's going to be 0.7 and 0.3. Okay. So now this is h of x. This is going to be 1 minus h of x. You agree with me? H of x value is 0.7. 1 minus h of x, obviously I'll get 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3. Can't I write like this? Yes or no? What is the difficulty
Yes,
in
ma'am.
this? Yes. So now what I'm doing, I'm writing this. So I know di is 1. 1 minus of di is 0. Each and every value I have to have it right. Probabilities when I tell. So now final what I'm telling is it's gonna be h of xi. My final ml value that I'm gonna take will have something, because I'll get for each and every instance I'll have two values. Again, two values. Third instance, two values. Fourth instance, fifth instance, I'll be having all these values. Okay. Among that, I'm gonna consider the best hypothesis. Okay, that best fits the solution with a maximum value of these two parameters. How am I defining? Telling that h of xi to the power of di, 1 minus of h of xi to the power of 1 minus of di. 1 minus of di is this term, that is actual minus the target. Sorry, the target, the predicted minus the target value, or predicted to the power of this. So my final answer over here will be like this. That is what I'm defining. Predicting probability is something gonna be like this. I'm taking the argmax of h of x the first predicted probability values that I get with respect to the target value, that is di. 1 minus h of x, the second probability value that I got with respect to 1 minus of di. This will be my maximum likelihood hypothesis predicting probabilities with respect to probabilities. Okay, you're getting the picture. When I tell probabilities, obviously you should have two values. One, positively, okay, yes, this belongs to, this does not belongs to. And with respect to that, you again have to check out the target values of it. That is the actual training data values that is there. I am going to consider both of these parameters to get my maximum likelihood hypothesis. Okay, and we also discussed about this will become the binomial distribution. When I apply the logarithmic to it, it's like this. The upper value of it will come towards the front. The exponential value will be here, logarithmic of h of x, 1 minus of di into logarithm of h of x. This is going to be my binomial distribution equation. But the negation of this, applying a minus sign to this, will become my cross entropy. We have discussed even this detailed in our lab program. The batch 2 program, I have discussed all of these things. The batch 1 and batch 2 program, completely all of these things are discussed in detail, and then we jumped into the lab program of logistic regression. Okay, so this is completely about and there's one more topic that I have to cover. Okay, that is going to be my gradient descent. As I told you, I have a 50 lakhs of that particular car and I've got my predicted telling it is 30 lakhs. My system is thinking, where did I go wrong? It is checking out its features. It's the features that it has selected is, or the weights that was assigned to it was in such a way that it is selecting only telling top roof open, 360-degree cameras, and only the option like automated driving system. It has only taken these three parameters. But you know, BMW, the Mini or the Countryman, normally it has something, it is basically on the brand, you need to pay the value of it. Though you get the similar features of it in a lesser prices of 30 lakhs or 25 lakhs, but still the brand makes a lot of difference. Then I'm telling my learning system, you have forgotten about the brand of it. You better take a brand value. So it will again check, okay, where is the brand feature in the input instances that it has given. For that, it applies a new way telling, please take an added advantage that if the brand of that car is BMW, obviously the rate of it is going to be above 45 or 50 lakhs, right? Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Normally the brand of it makes a huge difference, right? So my learning system, it was telling whatever the features that you're asking for, you get it within the 30 lakhs itself. Why should you pay 50 lakhs? But again, I'm telling there is a brand for that. You please take the brand feature consideration now. So I'm giving a different weight to that particular brand, right? So how do I update that weight? Weight updations is very, very important. How do I update? I'm going to take the target value of it. That's the actual training data value. And I have my predicted value from my system. I observe the difference between these two. If it is too high, okay, I have to change the parameters of it. And I'm changing the parameters of it, which means when I take the target value, I have to take its corresponding features also. What features has it considered for predicting values? Because when I take the prediction, I have to reconsider the features, what it is considered. Again, I have to apply the weights onto these features, modify the values of the weights. Again, it will come up with the learning system. Okay, what are really important for that is what we'll be checking out now. There's only 1 minute for this to end. I think I will restart. Once it restarts, we will start going ahead because I don't want the concepts to